start, I want to apologize to everybody in the room for keeping you waiting. We had an executive discussion in the office in there that ran into overtime. So that's why you're sitting here waiting for us to show up. So with that, we'll get started. Justin, you ready? All right. We'll call this meeting to order. Please join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks everyone for being here today. We'll begin with the approval of minutes of our previous meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the minutes of the September 20 meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay, first up is our grant administrator, Joyce Bates.
Good afternoon. I have two things that I need to talk to the commissioners about. The first thing I wanted to start with was, I believe it's been, yeah, it was last year. We had participated, the city had participated in the owner-occupied rehab pilot grant program that is offered through Okra now. It was a pilot program, and we had some issues at that time last year finding somebody who was qualified to administer and to submit the application for us. And at the last minute, we were able to find somebody to do that and went ahead and proceeded with it, and we were awarded. So I think everybody's probably heard about the grants that we've been able to give to some of the Connersville residents to fix up certain areas of their home. That being said, Okra has come back and said that they had leftover funds from the pilot program and they are going to offer it again. The grant due date is the 28th of October. They are only going to be awarding 4 grants total for the state of Indiana. But it would be for the owner-occupied rehab. I know we've had many calls come through our office of residents that were outside of the city limits that's interested in the program. We faced another challenge. As soon as it was announced that it was going to be available again, I reached out to ARA, which was the grant administrators that we had used through the city for this program, as well as Klein Peter and a bunch of others, and said, hey, Fayette County has said they're interested in this. Please get back with me as quickly as possible and let us know if you're willing to administer this and if you meet the criteria that Okra has set forth for this particular program. One of the requirements and what is making it difficult to find a GA, grant administrator for it, is you have to have 3 years previous experience of doing the owner-occupied rehab program. That knocked it down to about 5 people total, or organizations that could be the grant administrator. Some of them was not even located on this side of the state. Really came down to about 2. That being said, when I had originally reached out to them, the response was, we already have so many people coming to us wanting us to submit an application. We're not interested in being a GA for Fayette County. I sent out some mass emails stating, hey, we're desperate. Please let us know if you can help us. And that did generate a response. They came back to me and said, hey, we really would like to help you out, and this is what we're willing to do. What they are proposing is, and it's from ARA, so they are familiar with the community because they did this project for the city. They are proposing that in order to help Fayette County to apply for this, that we could pay a one-time $5,000 application fee. That is just to submit the application. That does not cover the grant administration fee, just to submit the application. And that would be something that the county would pay whether it was awarded or not awarded. Or Fayette County can become a member of ARA. Basically what it is it's an organization that if you're a member, they offer grant research. They will help you with technical assistance on some of the other grants that's out there that are non-federal. And then they also do, like the Office of Community Rural Affairs, grants that we have participated in the past. We've always, I think, used Klein Peter for that. And I did reach out to him, and he does not have that 3 years of experience with this particular program that they've kind of added as a caveat to this particular program. So that's why I'm here today, with the application being due the 28th. I got their response on Friday afternoon, so I forwarded it to you guys and decided to go ahead and come and present it as well so we could kind of discuss it. You know, it is going to be highly competitive. 4 in the whole state of Indiana. I know that, I know of over 6 communities just that I know personally that is submitting, and I've heard that there is close to up to a dozen that has already contacted Okra and said that they're interested in pursuing this. So it is going to be something that's highly competitive, but I need direction from you one way or the other on the $5,000 application fee, whether we're going to pursue this or not at this point. Sorry, lots of information. I just threw it out there.
Any thoughts?
Our only way to move forward is the $5,000 up front.
Yes. One of the sections in the grant application, you have to talk about your experience as a grant administrator in doing this actual program. So it's not something that I could submit because I don't have that 3 years of OOR.
We did this, where would the 5,000 come from?
There's still money in the economic development, the county planning line of your budget.
Yeah, we could come up with $5,000. Well, Dan Parker and I, Dan's here in the audience today, we have some experience with these pay-to-play, what would you call it, Dan? Would you call it, I wouldn't want to call it a scheme, but it's a...
It's a cost of admission. You have to pay to play. You said it right.
Yeah, and you know that the deck is stacked against you when you start. So, I know Julissa fears the risk of this due to the fact that there are only going to be 4 awards in the entire state. Our
It's
chances of
really
getting
hard,
awarded
yeah.
are very slim, I would say.
It's a hard call to make because this particular program, I love this program. This is one of my favorite grant programs. I'm so glad that they're offering it again because this is grants that get made to the individuals in our community that need it most, that meet the criteria. It's one of those things that, to me, is that direct benefit. Everybody can see it's going straight to those members of our community. So I love the program. I love what it offers, just to see that community pride as their house is fixed up and different things. So it's hard for me to say, no, don't participate in it. But then when I look at the fact that there's 4 in the whole state of Indiana being awarded and the county is going to have to spend $5,000, it's hard for me to say, oh yes, let's do this. So it's your call. I mean, it's a wonderful program. I love the program. I don't like the caveat that they put on it as far as it has to be 3 years of experience in this particular program because, you know, now you have private organizations, like I said, there's like 5 or 6 in the whole state, making the call of really who gets to play and who doesn't. I mean, I don't like that part. Okra is going to change it, and if this becomes a regular program that they offer. But right now, that's the HUD rules, that's their rules. So if we want to play, we're going to have to pay.
And if a grant is awarded, how much would be to an individual, up to?
Usually it's $5,000 an individual. It can go a little bit more than that. There's always requirements that you have to meet to do that. That being said, the grant itself is for $250,000. The county would be required at that point to do a 10% match. So I think you're talking, ends up being like $27,000 because you have to do a 10% match of the total project. You kind of have to back into the numbers. grant administration on those usually run between 33 to 36,000. So, I mean, that's what's going to be taken out of your check. So. And that would not include that 5,000 that's paid up front. That's just for the application.
It's a whole lot like buying a lottery ticket. If you win, you win. If you don't, you're out the cost of the ticket. So I don't like that game either, if that's the position they're putting us in.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like a good thing, unless if our odds were better. I mean, if it were, you know, they were gonna choose 12 or 15 recipients, but hearing only 4 in the whole state, it doesn't seem like we would have much of it. The odds aren't very good.
Depends on how good the writer is. $5,000, that would be pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Julissa, do you have any idea what our competition would look like around the state in this?
I think Fayette County will score well because we have previous experience doing this type of program as a community, and that is one of the scoring criterias. We used to do this with Star Development years and years and years ago. We did it like every other year, seemed like, with them for like 11 or 12 years. So I know that we would score high there. Our distress points as a community, we would probably get the max there. But there's also other communities out there that have the distress points too. So I really, you know, without knowing every community that was applying, that's what I said. It's hard because I love this program. I love what it stands for. So.
Can we ask what the audience think? Do it or not?
Go ahead and ask.
What's your opinions?
I know recipients of the other one that they had here, it helps people tremendously if we are awarded, for sure. Senior citizens and people that can't afford, have, you know, not really remodeling, but to better their homes, furnaces, you know, air conditioning. I mean, it helps them, for sure.
So do you think it's worth the possibility of basically throwing $5,000 away if we're not awarded, or go ahead and go for it? Try.
Okay, I'm just gonna be real with you.
Yep, well, what?
I mean, versus 270 some $1,000, $5,000 to take the risk. I mean, it's like you said, it is a risk. I mean, no one wants to waste money, but then if you're awarded the grant, though, look at what it's going to do to the betterment of the people that's going to receive it.
Dan?
It's for municipalities in the entire state, Joe said, and municipalities are in the state of Indiana.
Whole boatload.
I do know that I probably have 6 or 7 people on a slip of paper with their phone number that if Fayette County does proceed with it, that they're interested in the program. And I'm sure that's just a drop in the bucket. I mean, you know, your need is there. It's one of those things that I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I wish it was $5,000 if awarded. I mean, but.
But they have told you that in the future they plan to change this rule.
And what it will do is it will open it up for the 200 and some certified grant administrators in the state of Indiana. Anybody could administer the program as long as they were certified. So it makes it a little bit more competitive, the prices as far as that goes. And most of your grant administrators, I know we've worked with Klein Peter, usually he'll do the application just for the opportunity to place a bid on doing the grant administration. That's what we're kind of used to dealing with.
Did they tell you when that change was coming?
No, I'm assuming it would at least be next year.
Okay.
Now, you know I'm a giver. I like to give things. But I also feel a little bit like this is not probably something, I feel like we wouldn't get it. And I hate the thought of losing $5,000 for, just to try. If our odds were better, knowing this year they're only going to pick 4 in the whole state, that kind of makes me I'm not that big of a gambler, I guess, I mean, I would love to help people, and I think it would be I want that. I actually shared that with you also, Jaleesa, that based on last year, that was one of the first things someone said to me, is why didn't Fayette County apply for this grant? Because the city did, and the city did well with it. And so I was thinking, yeah, we should do it this year. But then when I heard the details of it, but the one detail I think too that we discussed, which I feel is beneficial to hear just because it kind of helped me to make a decision in my own mind to think about it sitting here, is the trouble that you had with the group, the ARAs, that group actually wanting to work with us. They told you no in the beginning, and then, until you reached out to other people and then asking for help, and then they forwarded that email to ARA, then you received a call, probably because they received pressure from Okra, based on what they were doing there or not doing and wanting to help us. So I think, I don't know. It has a bad feel for me to move forward and just doing it this year. I feel like that's my feel on it, is maybe they'll change things and next year will be more. And I know the city is not going to be this year.
No, they would have to take a 50-point deduction right off the bat if they applied, because we got it this last round.
Would that hurt us by them getting it last year? Would that hurt us?
No.
Our chances this time?
No. Unless, Okra decides to look at, well, this community did receive one. But as far as I know, there is no point deduction. That would be for the county, according to the rules and regulations. And when I talked to them, Fayette County would not be penalized.
I'll move to approve the $5,000.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve. Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. I guess, sounds like we'll pass on this thing, Jaleesa. Did you have anything else?
The only other thing that I had is, you and I had talked about the LAIR application, talking about Manlove Park. There is an application that's going to be due January 15th that will allow for us to receive an 80% grant to pay for a study to be done out at Manlove, and basically to figure out exactly what needs to be done out there. So the county needs to be responsible for a 20% match. And so I know Dale has been very involved in that, if he wants to speak a little bit more about that. But I did want to bring that up and, see if there was questions and ask for approval to go ahead and plan on submitting that in January, and go ahead and start gathering some quotes to see how much that plan is going to cost us, so we have an idea of what that 20% match is going to be.
Okay, this this project, excuse me, at Manlove, when I talked to the DNR rep about that, it's a two-step process. The LAIR grant will pay for 80% of the sediment removal and dam repair plan. Let's call it a feasibility study. Be the same thing. And I don't know what one of those cost, but it would probably be at least $10,000. And they'll automatically pay for 80% of that, half of which could be an in-kind contribution by the park itself, which I think they helping get all the things done up there they would need, would probably take care of that. So if it was a $10,000 grant, we could potentially get the study done for $1,000. Then once that's in place, we could apply for the big grant to actually do the dredging and cleanup of the lake. So,
And that would also include the spillway on the dam.
yes,
Places.
yeah. But the study, all that would be covered in the study. They consider everything there that's wrong that needs to be fixed. So, and then from there, we could actually put a price tag on the whole project and make application for a grant. But they tell me that Manlow Park is indeed qualified for the Lair grants, only because that lake has a boat dock and they allow boats with motors on it. Because the Lair grant program is funded by boat registrations. So Jolisa needs our permission to make application.
I need to approve, to move forward with the application.
Yeah, second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the application for the Lair grant application to Manlow Park. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Okay. Anything else, Jolisa?
That's it, and I'll probably get with, oh, you got a question? Go ahead.
Have you heard anything on the communication grant that?
The one that we submitted for Homeland Security, yes, that was awarded. So we got the $150,000 for the radios, with $75,000 going to the city, $75,000 to the county. I do have to enter that information into IntelliGrant by the 21st of October. So I'm trying to get with Adrian and get his login information and password so that I can get in there, enter everything I need to before that deadline. Once I do that, they'll send us a grant agreement to sign. So, but yes, we were awarded that. And then I have not heard anything on the COPS grant. That was the other. They were supposed to announce on the 30th, and we've not heard anything, but they've not made an announcement. So it's not that we're denied or awarded either way. It's just we're waiting. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Kelly Van Meter is here from 911 for the 144 request.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
How are we today?
okay. You need some help over there again?
No. Yeah, well, yes. I always need help myself. Okay, so I have hired Caden Davis. Not that you care, but he's Jim Davis's grandson. Jim retired off the city fire a little years ago, so he's his grandson, part-time. And then I've got Jared Combs, he's on Everton Fire, and he is going to be part-time. He's going to be like an as-needed guy, because he has a full-time job in Indy, but he gets sometimes laid off in the winter. Like, it's kind of he's in the union, so it's a randomness type thing. He doesn't really, quote, need hours, which is kind of good, because it's hard to find somebody who don't need hours, that can just kind of jump on the schedule 1 or 2 days a week. Because when he's laid off, he gets like an unemployment money. So he wants to do it basically to see what the other side of the radio does, and he's to help out. So Jared's kind of going to be random, but he wants to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put him as a 144. He is training this week. He started this week to train. So that's what's happening.
Okay. So you need approval for Katie Davis and Jared
Caden.
Combs.
K-A-D-E-N, Caden.
Caden.
Yep.
Okay.
And Jared Combs.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the hire of Caden Davis and Jared Combs.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the 144 request for 911 for the hire Kaden Davis and Jared Combs. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
And anything for me while I'm here. I do want to step around and say one thing to you guys when I'm done. No, I left over this in my hand and I didn't do it. I'll bring it over. Are we done?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Okay. Have a nice day.
Okay, probation, Ryan Siggers is here. Ryan?
Thank you all. Just as I suspected, the day after we adjourned last time, they sent me this contract. So I made copies for everybody if you didn't have one. It's a lengthy read.
You predicted that would happen, didn't you?
I knew it as soon as I got on here and I didn't have it. I said, they'll send this to me as soon as I walk out of this room. And I think it was the next day before noon, they sent that back. As Mr. Wesling said, it's not a lengthy read. They're very straightforward. The CEO used to be a community corrections director. Like they're not from the business legal world. It just seems to be a pricing invoice. I'd really love to give this a shot. I think this would do well with low-risk misdemeanor offenders who don't want to mess with having to come to our office all the time, sit and wait, be exposed to people that they shouldn't be around, felonious, dangerous people, sex offenders, things of that nature. They did word it as we asked. If community corrections or drug court or any other county agency would like to try this, this would cover them. And they'll let us pool our users since the price is determined on how many people you have. Let's say we put in 50 and corrections put in 50, that would equal over, 51, that gets us over that 100 mark. They drop the price for both agencies to the overall 101 mark and then bill us separately. So we didn't have to worry about, who's paying what and reimbursing another agency or anything like that. So I would just ask that you go ahead and approve this contract and go ahead and get things rolling. I still need to draw up kind of how we're going to run the program for our agency. Make sure we have all that in line before we even start. And then the case, our actual coordinator, the lady who's going to be talking with us, she also does our ankle bracelets. She'll get a hold of us as far as training and get everything set up. She's always been great when we use her for ankle bracelets as far as coming down in person training, getting everything set up. We'll have to, I assume, I don't know if I need to get with Jane or Lisa, the clerk, about getting a line item for technology so they can pay into it like a technology fee, because this will be paid for by the probationer, not the probation department. So it'll be a voluntary program for them to be on if they can afford to do so. Yeah, didn't want to put the cart in front of the horse on that.
Well, to recap this thing, I don't know. I know there's some people here today that weren't here a couple of weeks ago when you were here. But this will allow the probation department to meet with clientele in virtual setting where applicable, right?
Yes.
And eliminate the need for both clientele and the probation officers to have to, should eliminate a lot of travel.
Yes.
With both and save a lot of time and accomplish the same thing, we hope.
Correct. And we have, the last time I checked last week, over 111 low-risk misdemeanor probationers. The idea of evidence-based practices, you don't put your time, energy, and resources into people who don't need it. You put them into the people who do. The company that does this, their studies are showing you're saving anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes per probationer that you put onto this app. It's an app, it's a phone app, that GPS locates them. They have to take a picture of themselves, they answer questions. It has voice recognition technology. It uses, and it's all on their phone. They download it. It does all that. It tells you where they're at when they checked in. It keeps a schedule. It sends us updates on whether they checked in or not. It's just a way of basically cutting out the middleman of them having to actually drive. We have a lot of people on probation, Indianapolis, Richmond, Greenfield, Greensburg, that come up here, for appointments, and with the price of gas and the time and the travel and having to be off work, instead you can check in at 5 o'clock at night on a Tuesday from your couch and it says, yes, he was at his address that he's reported to you, and cutting out all of that additional work, and you're still accomplishing what the courts ask of us. It also has a lengthy list of classes that the probationer can participate in over their phone, you know, akin to like anger management, all kinds of different, there was a big long list. They've partnered with a community mental health organization from their area that's put all these classes online that will then send us certificates when they complete. So it's got a lot of benefits. It's definitely, I think, the wave of the future. As they say, there's 12 companies developing these types of apps. This would have been great 2 years ago when we were all working from home and doing everything over cell phones, and you couldn't lay eyes on them because you can teleconference with them over it and everything. So I would love this, and I wish I was standing here in 2019 presenting this, and we could have that for COVID. Yeah. So I would just ask that you approve this contract so we can get a policy in place and start to move forward with getting this rolling. Just at least give it a shot, and then if it doesn't work out, we'll just stop using it. So there doesn't seem to be anything. Mr. Wesley, if you had any input as far as there's nothing in here saying you have to pay anything up front, there's nothing like that, there's no time limit on it, saying this is good for a certain amount of time. And from what I can tell,
contract break.
yeah. From what I can tell, we signed a contract with this company in 2017. They've not raised their prices since then on the juvenile ankle bracelets. They've not even addressed us to, hey, you need to sign a new contract. They're just letting that one ride, which is one of the reasons why I think I've liked that company so much. They never hassle you about anything. It's just, if something goes wrong, you call them, they fix it for you. That's it. You pay for when you use it.
Okay, question for the attorney. Jeff, this contract is between Track Group and the probation department, not Track Group and the county commissioner. Are you okay with that?
Well, traditionally, commissioners are the ones that enter into any contract between any, but I think we are essentially agreeing to the contract, and they're our entity that we designate as a contract, so we're okay with it.
Okay. Any further question?
Make a motion that will approve this contract between Track Group and our probation department.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the contract between Track Group and the Fayette County Probation Department. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 3 ayes, Steve. There you go, Ryan.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. I hope this works out.
I do too. Thank you.
Okay, Health Department, Mr. Matt Shirk is here. The proposed fee schedule.
Right. Flu season is upon us, and this morning, so I'm sorry for the late notice, but this morning we were reviewing and making sure we were billing as we were supposed to for our flu shots. The paper that I provided and emailed earlier lists how we bill. We basically bill at cost plus 10% plus an $8 administration fee for anybody paying cash. But how we bill insurance, the administration fee is set by Medicare costs, basically. So when reviewing this morning, our current fee schedule listed all our administration fees at $25. And currently Medicare, and this isn't actually updated fee schedule that I just gave Dale over the one I emailed. Current fee for Medicare Part B preventative immunizations is $30. So when we do an insurance bill, we want to turn in that $30 fee. And other insurance fees, non-Medicare, are $18. So I'm just asking to update our fee schedule. Basically, the only change is it goes from $25 across the board to a $30 fee and an $18 fee. So.
How does that compare to what we're doing now?
Like, we've been at 15 for what we've been turning in, even though, and that's what we discovered this morning, that our fee said we should be doing 25. So, but the Medicare would not let us do 25 until they just changed it from 15 to 18 for non and 30 for Medicare Part B. So.
Okay, so Medicare is changing from 15 to 18 on one end and 25 to 30 on the other?
Right. Right, and that's the Medicare, that's what they allow us to bill insurance, or that's what insurance will pay based on the
Okay.
Medicare rate. So that's what we want to bill. It still doesn't change, anybody coming in for a flu shot with insurance, they're still going out-of-pocket fee. So this is strictly a fee that we bill the insurance company. So if you come in with an insurance, there's no fee. And we do have, in this, it does establish all our fees for stuff that's not covered by insurance at cost plus 10%, and then an $8 administrative fee. But I just took the last ordinance and copied it, pasted, changed the 25 to 13, 18, which is what Amy, our nurse, said it should be this morning.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve ordinance number 2022-05, establishing price guidelines for vaccination fees for the county health department at $18 and $30.
And those are for the the administration fee. So you're also billing for the shot as well. So that's the administration fee. That's what we get paid to give the shot.
That's the only thing that's changing,
Yeah.
is the administration fee.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's through the insurance company.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jay.
All right. But, yeah, for the public and anybody that wants a flu shot, we are offering them now 5 days a week, walk-in or appointment. So you can call in for an appointment or you can just walk in. 8:30 to 12 and 1 to 4 every day, except Wednesday we're here. Well, actually, we give shots till about 3:30, and then on Wednesday till about 4:30. So we close for lunch and 4 to 1. So it is, flu season is upon us, so please come in and get your shot.
And we also have the new and improved
Right.
COVID vaccine.
So we have that available too, and we're doing it at the same time. So we were doing that 3 days a week, and since we're doing flu shots 5 days a week, we've opened the COVID shots up to 5 days a week as well. So the new version, we have the new COVID vaccine with both the variants. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
I think that was, County Highway Department. Jay, do you have anything today?
Good afternoon. I wanted to let you know on the chip box when we went to use it, we found out when we was using it out on Saxon Road, it's shorter the battery cable wiring tube, and when it's short the wiring tube, it did something to the motor. The man from Southeastern come down and run it and tried to get the code out of it. He said they'd have to call CAT to come down and work on it because it's got a CAT motor in it. And we haven't heard nothing out of it, so it's done for a season until they can fix it, because they told us not to use it. Because we'll cook something if we do.
Everything's got to be computerized.
Yep. And the thing is, when they was using it, they didn't even know it burnt the battery cable wiring too, until they got back to the garage. So I don't know what it operated, but they threw the code into the computer and hopefully it didn't mess the computer up. We're working up there at Gordon Estates today, and we'll be up there the rest of the week, getting those streets up there. They actually taken them one day to do a street, because they got the cul-de-sacs so hard to do, to run the back end of it.
Yeah.
And we got 4 of them up there, so it's gonna be a long job.
Well, that'll be a nice improvement for that neighborhood.
It'll help it.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else for Jay?
Did you get the spot out there at Pleasant View?
That's got a lot.
That one that where it was all ground up last spring.
Oh, yeah, we did that. We done that about a month ago. Better. Yeah, they did 2 of them out there actually, because there was 2 of them that needed attention up there. They didn't take them all the way out to the intersection, like I wish we would have, because we wasn't sure how much money we was gonna use. We held off and just fixed the spot back there, and that's all we did. We got it done. And we've had the brush cutter out too. But with what we're doing is taking everybody we got, so I get some replacement people in there, because we're needing people.
Okay.
Was there on the bypass bridge, you know, we talked about that at the last meeting too, that problem that was out there, and you're gonna put some blacktop in it
Yeah,
on the bridge?
yeah, we put coal
You
mix
guys
in
got
it,
that, that's good.
because it actually was cement, and I didn't want to put anything that set up too hard in case they have to dig it out, because it's gonna have to be fixed eventually. I told Bill about it. It's an expansion joint in the bridge is what it is. I don't know whether the bridge is given, causing it to break up or what.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we might need to look at that bridge inspection, and check that
Yeah.
out.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update.
And I should have a couple names for you by next commissioner meeting on employees.
Okay, to fill your open positions?
Yeah, I've got to do some more thinking on it.
Do you have a list that you could share with us, or that you have written down, or?
I give Dale the applications.
They're laying in there in the office.
That's good.
I kept copies of the front pages so I couldn't lose their phone numbers.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Jay.
No problem.
County Surveyor, do you have anything today?
Yes, what we need to do is, we used to have a on-call professional service agreement with USI, it's our bridge inspectors. We need to sign a new contract with the old one expired, because I need them on Bridge 44. It's on Williams Road, just west of South Gray Road out there. We've got some, have you seen that, Dale? You've seen the wash and the invent is riprap washed away. I've got to have them do a DNR permit. That's a major, you know, in order to get down in there and do that fix. And that'll take, what, 6 to 9 months to get a DNR permit, so I want to go ahead and get them on it. So, so by next summer, I put money in the budget for next year to do something with it. But yeah, it's going to take that long to get something done with it. Yeah, that embankment's washed back, that invent's exposed, and this is just what y'all need to sign. This is just a face take off. Genuine, I think you need to attach to it too. That's just to do the new agreement. We had one, what do you say, 19 or 20 was last time?
2019.
Yeah, so we just need to do another one so they can do the DNR permit if they're pretty involved.
Is this
Just major wash. You got probably, what, 100, 150 feet of embankment, and like I said, under the bridge, the indent that holds the east side is all the riprap's washed from it. It's only if you where the Bischoff slid down there just east
yeah.
of that bridge right there, just west of the old South Gray Road. Yeah, it's an issue. We gotta get something done. And DNR, I mean, we can't get down there and do anything, we'd get in trouble. You know, so we need to go the permit route on this one.
Okay, so this was a renewal of a current contract with USI, or?
Well, is it just,
This is just a new one, the other one expired, so we're just
Yeah.
gonna submit a new one.
with just different fees, of course, because, you know, fees increase over years, whatever time they spend on doing the permit and stuff.
They ought to donate that. They ought to donate that.
Yeah, this is just hourly, it's not it's just as needed, so.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to get on that, because they said it takes 9 months, it's next June, possibly, before we can even start on it.
Yeah, okay. This thing has a title. This is the on-call professional services agreement between Fayette County and USI Consultants.
Jeff need to look at it before we.
I have not seen this. but-
You've not seen it? Well, there's more there than you'll want to read in this meeting, probably. Take your time.
No pressure.
I'd rather,
Speed reader.
Bill, is this urgent enough that it has to be done today?
The sooner the better, because you're gonna look at, 6 to 9, I mean, at least that long to get that permit. So the sooner the better, but, it's not necessarily needed today, exactly.
Could we approve it?
Approve it pending my
Pending.
approval.
I'm going to approve pending the county attorney's approval.
And you'll sign it next meeting if he approves it? Okay.
They can sign it before then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if he texts us tonight and says he's looked this over and sees no problem with it, we can stop in the office and sign it any time. But I didn't realize until he spoke up that he hadn't seen this. Okay, your motion was,
To approve it pending Jeff's approval.
okay.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the agreement between the county and USI Consultants pending approval of the county attorney. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. So as soon as we get the nod from the county attorney, we'll sign this bill.
Okay. And the only other thing, starting Thursday at 4 a.m., they're gonna start pouring the deck on Bridge 90. So Thursday, they should have that deck poured up there.
Thursday and
4 a.m., they're
4
starting at
a.m.
4 a.m., so they can probably get it done in one day. So I just found out yesterday that that's what they're planning on. Actually, they was having a meeting at 2 o'clock, pre-deck pour meeting. I couldn't go to that, of course, but they're planning on pouring it at 4 o'clock in the morning every day. So moving along.
Okay,
So
good.
hopefully they'll make their deadline by middle of November.
Good news.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. County attorney, do you have anything?
Not this time, no.
Okay. Anyone have any mail you want to share? Anyone have anything under old business? Check my notes. Last meeting, that fellow was here from the engineering firm about the air handler project. Since then, he emailed us a different proposal. It went from 30,000 down to 20,000. Did you see that? Have you had any chance to give that any thought?
Talk about it's kind of low as we're going to get them. I think it's still kind of high, but.
I think it is too, but that's, we still have action pending on that, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it before the meeting. So the longer we let that go,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, can we go ahead, are you wanting to waive, table it? Is that what you're thinking?
No.
Or are you wanting, I feel like, from what you said, I feel like we need to move on that because it needs to be done. It might go up instead of down. I don't know, do you feel that? What is your thinking on it?
Well, I regret that we're even having to take the route that we are on this whole thing, but it's part of it. The attorney's holding our feet to the fire on it. So.
Well, the good thing is to know it'll be done, what they will do will be done right, I think there's been an issue in there, they've said for a long time, maybe they'll find the problems. or deal to whoever the contractor is, you know?
Okay. Jane, I didn't have an opportunity to bring this to your attention. This might come up today, but that we have a electronic version of an agreement between us and DLZ to do what do they call it? They didn't call it the feasibility study. They called it it was, what was the word they used? Well, it was the engineering of the replacement of the air handling system over there. If we should agree to approve that agreement in the meeting today without a paper copy, can we clean that matter up electronically?
We can, right? They've all seen it and reviewed the electronic version. They don't have to have the paper version right this minute.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You guys, if you've all reviewed it and you approve it, you just need to print it and sign it after the meeting.
Okay. If you're satisfied with after seeing it, if that's what you want to do, we can take care of that today.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the contract agreement for engineering services between the county and DLZ pertaining to the air handling, replacement of the air handler system at the county jail. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Question. Has Jeff seen the copy of it?
I have not.
Can
Okay, well, we
You guys avoid me today.
can I amend my motion that approval pending his approval?
sure, yeah.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we'll amend the motion
We're gonna
to
make Jeff work today.
pin the approval of the county attorney after taking a look at it. Now, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. You were here, Jeff, when the guy made his presentation and he left a copy behind.
I reviewed that, but this is an updated version, I was led to believe.
Yeah, it reduces the scope of the work.
Okay. But it didn't change any legal language, it just changed the actual contract price and the scope, so I'll be able to review it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it reduced the scope of the work and the cost, but nothing else. But we'll introduce you to that right after this meeting.
Very good.
Okay. Are we forgetting anything else?
The paint on the old jail. Have you heard from that guy?
Nope. We have a signed contract with him. It gives him until October the 31st. I haven't seen hide nor hair of him. Anything else? Okay, under new business, Mr. Pete Shaw, Mr. Dan Parker is here over a matter with some property at the industrial park. Well, thank you guys for bearing with us today.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you for having us.
Now, Pete, are you now the longest practicing attorney in the county?
I think so. Thanks for reminding me of
I've got
that.
a couple years.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Well, I'm
I
showing
am.
my age. I remember when you started practice.
Yeah, it's late 70s.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was still in kindergarten, I remember.
What? Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pushing.
So you've moved up on the seniority list, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's, some days I think I've had almost 50 years of really good experience. Some days I think I've had 1 year of experience 50 times in a row, and I'm just not any smarter than I was when I started. So, but anyhow, thanks for reminding me, but you're right. I'm pushing almost 50 years practice.
Yeah. Well, I thought about that when John Bodwell retired just
Yes,
recently,
yes.
and he went out as being the senior
Yep.
attorney in the county, so that moved you up.
Yes, he reminded me of that when he went out the door.
Yeah.
So, yeah. In those 40 some odd years, I don't know how many times these leases have come up in my practice, so I don't know how much you know or want me to explain here, but I represent Fayette Tool, and they are up in the industrial park, and they have a manufacturing facility up there that's quite successful. And they are located on, I think, 5 parcels of real estate. And 1, 2, 3. 3 of them are owned by the county and leased. The other 3 are owned by Fayette Tool. And so the county is leasing these properties. I think you've probably seen these leases. They were done back in the 70s. They're horrible. They're just horrible. And we recently did a refinance with Fayette Tool and back in September. And when the banks got to these leases, we just hit the wall. We got through it, but it was just a struggle. So I know you transferred some of these to the various companies, and that's what we're here asking you to do with the 3 parcels. One of the parcels, the county records show it as being held, title being held by Fayette Tool, and their records are wrong. There's 3 parcels that are titled in the name of the county. And I've given you I've given Jeff copies of proposed deeds, and I'll take care of whatever cost is for doing this. But that's the short story. That I've been fighting with these leases for 40 years. Every time I've done one, it's been a mess. And that refinance one, that was the bank wanted a subordination agreement for the lease, which is nonsense because I think the lease payment's what, $5 or something. It was a total nonsense.
Yeah, it's just a token amount.
It is. So that's our request. I've shared my lease my deeds with Jeff, and
I've reviewed his deeds. He actually did send them to me. He kept them. So, but I reviewed him. I don't have any issues with him. He even gave me the opportunity to have a legal description for my own, but I reviewed his and have no issues with them. I think they're pretty clear and cut. I think there's not a lot hidden motives to this. This is pretty clear what it is.
Yeah. Well, we've dealt with several of these before, and it's been the county's position for a long time that they wanted to get out of this business and let this real estate get back on the tax roll.
One thing not property taxes aside, one other thing I've always, because like he said, these leases sometimes are just a mess and they're just not very well done. Liability wise, there's some kind of concerns I have, and us getting $5 for something that we're maybe having to insure. I don't know right now if we insure these properties or not. I probably would say we probably need to until we get them transferred to some level at least, or at least usually how I would draft it is they would have to insure it and provide us documentation that they're insuring it to some level, but I'm sure we've not done that. So I'm all for us transferring these titles.
There's a number of good reasons why we should get rid of these.
just as an aside, the northern properties up there, it's even worse because there's no easements for ingress and egress. So sooner or later, somebody's going to have to straighten out I think the whole north end. It's never been platted either, and I'm not sure what the solution is, but
that whole section wasn't platted ever?
I don't think so. It's a mess. So sooner or later, it's somebody's going to have to deal with it.
Good intentions.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We know what roads paved with those.
Yes, we did.
Well, Pete, do you have anything on paper there that we can share with?
I just have the deeds. I have all the title work. We had all the deeds pulled. These are all the county records. One of them, as I said, one of them is wrong because they're showing the Fayette Tool as the owner, and they're not. So, but I gave the deeds to him.
I think what we've done in the past is there's just been a motion made to, I think you quit claim to economic development, and then we turn around and do the same. I think that's what
Yes,
you prepared.
that's correct, yeah.
So I think it's just a motion from the commissioners that will allow us to go through those 2 steps from the county to EDG, and then from EDG to the business owner.
That's what we need. We need proper work, for the purpose of proper records being kept here. We need,
We're transferring 3 parcels to EDG, from the county to EDG.
and we want to approve a quit claim deed for 3 parcels occupied by
Fayette Tool Engineering.
to EDG, and then we're done with it. Then EDG will transfer it on to Fayette Tool.
And I think that'll take us down to about 5 remaining leases after we get these left that still exist,
Okay.
by various other businesses.
Last Monday.
Yeah. No.
You think quick claim?
Yeah, quit claim.
I'll move to transfer the quick claim to the EDG for the parcels that's held by Fayette Tool. Did I say that right?
Close enough.
That'll work, I think.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the quit claim deed transfer of 3 parcels. 3 parcels in the industrial park now occupied by Fayette Tool to EDG. Any further question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. That should get you halfway there.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you guys for your patience.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
support.
If you need anything, just let me know.
I forwarded those to her, so she should get those. She'll get their signature. I can't remember, is it require 1 signature or all 3? I don't
You guys
know.
have all 3.
All 3, and then if you want, she can just email a copy of those to you. Or you can come pick up the original.
Who's gonna get the original?
She'll have these.
She'll record them. Anyone else to record them?
Yeah.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Auditor's office
Yep.
tomorrow. Yep.
Okay, thanks a bunch.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you very much.
Sharon Cranfield is here representing the House of Youth. Sharon, do you have anything for us today?
I do. I have 4 of these. I didn't realize I would need 5. I'm sorry, Mr. Westling. Everybody's leaving you
I'm
out
often
today.
forgotten. I'd say I'd skip Jane, but no, we know better, so.
Okay, I'm actually here for, and I know we do not have the money yet, but for the opioid settlement request. And I am requesting money for the House of Ruth. And my financial advisor for our board is, can I bring her up on the phone so she can be on this conversation?
Here.
Do you have, okay. She could not be here, but she wanted to be here by phone.
Hello.
Hi, Linda, we are here.
All right.
So, all right, I'm just now opening and I'm going to tell them a little bit about the House of Ruth.
Okay.
Okay, I want to give you a little bit for anyone that's not familiar with it. The House of Ruth is an 18-month program, recovery program with residential and transitional living on site. We have been open and operating for 12 years. I am the founder and the executive director of the House of Ruth. And we've had over 174 women that has went through the program now. We help women in the community. We work with drug court, we work with probation, parole, anyone that needs help with SUDs, and that's substance use disorders. And we have 3 homes right now, and 2 of them are transitional. And what that means is after they go through what the women call the big house, they can move into another house and kind of get, they can have their own car and their own cell phone, and they have more privileges before they go out in the community completely. So we have found that that has really helped the women to kind of get established before they get right on out. So anyway, does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, a lot of the women that are there their addiction is opiates. And I actually have a couple young ladies with me today. If you want to hear from them, that was their drug of choice. And if you have questions for them on anything that we do at the house, how it is ran, how it has helped them, I just want you to be more familiar with the reason I'm asking for the request that I'm doing. Would anyone like to have them speak, or just, do you have a question for them?
I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Okay. Whoever wants to go first. This is Diane.
Yes, I have been at the House of Ruth now for about 8 months, since January. And I mean, what led me there is I seen such a big change in my daughter. She had just graduated the program. She had been there 18 months. And she's really changed her whole life around. And I had tried rehabs before, and nothing really got it before. You know, I never really got it, but I definitely needed the structure that the House of Ruth has with the religion with it. I feel like that's really important. I've been, you know, in and out of jail and prison a lot in my life, and because of drugs and opiates. And I mean, I don't even have the desire to use today. So, and neither does my daughter. She graduated and she moved out, got a place of her own, and so that shows me hope. And she now has her own car, and you know, the manager at Burger King, and it's just, it was a real eye-opener to see her go through that and make it. So, you know, and here I am. And I really love it. I love the House of Ruth. It's done a lot for me. Thank you.
So, I'm Angeli. I've been at the House of Ruth for a year now, and I went to multiple different rehabs in the past 7-8 years, and nothing has clicked for me. I'm a mother of two boys, and I didn't have contact with them for about 2 years, and I finally have contact with them again because I'm doing so well. The IOT, the intensive outpatient treatment, helped tremendously. We see a Christian counselor once a week for a year, and he's great, and I love him. We learn a lot about stability and like boundaries and faith, and just we learn everything we need to know for life at the House of Ruth, and it's just awesome, and I love it.
Thank you. So this is just a couple of the ladies that are in the program right now. And what we do is we do teach them daily life skills. They go through budgeting. They're required to save money. They have to work. If they don't have a GED, they have to get a GED. If they want to go to college, they're welcome to go to college. I have some ladies that have graduated with an associate's degree. I have one young lady that is now, even after she left the program, has a bachelor's in addiction counseling, and she is working. And another young lady that is actually going for her master's, and she is now making over $35 an hour. So I always say, as long as there's breath in their body, there's hope. So we offer hope, not dope. So, but in saying all that, I just wanted you, and I realize the money is not here yet for the settlement, but I feel like as long as we have been in the community and working in the community, I wanted to put a request in. So our ongoing, and if you want to look at your papers, it's our financial sheets, our expenses, what we brought in, what we have put out, and that's where we are, what we would be asking for, and Linda is our financial lady on our board. If you have any questions, do you want to kind of explain our budget, Linda?
Yeah, how about if I take that?
Yes.
Do they have the year-to-date cash balance statement?
Yes.
Okay, if you can look at that, it's one sheet of paper. It's up to date as of August 31st. We haven't completed our September financials yet. But in the first 8 months of the year, we have accumulated cash receipts of $88,457. But if you look down at the bottom, our total expenses have been $127,480. So you can see the shortfall there. I'm going to kind of move you just a little bit to the budget. And our budget is based on last year's actuals. We had $94,000, a little over that in expenses and very close to that in income. Actually, income was slightly higher. We had excellent years in 2020 and 2021. A lot of grants came our way during that very difficult period. And we practiced a little something called reserving, which we've never been able to do before. We've never had a savings account. We put money back that we didn't need to operate on, and that has covered our shortfall for the year. It will be depleted and more by the end of this year. As I project, if you take a look now at the 2022 cumulative actuals, you'll see that we're sitting at the $88,000 in income and the $127,000 plus in expenses. And when we project that out for the full 12 months, we'll have we can project $132,686 in income and $191,220 in expenses. Our expenses run what they run. We are not excessive in our spending, although it takes a lot. It takes a lot to operate 3 houses, and 3 old houses particularly. So that brings us to the end of this year with a $58,543 shortfall. Now I'm going to move you back to that cash balance. Because when you go back to that, you'll see the beginning cash balance is $61,000 that we have. 54 of that was in our reserve. And now we have, at the bottom of that, we have $22,000 in our bank balance. 14 of that is in reserve. The $40,000 deficit that we've had up to this point has been covered by reserve. So that's how we've got through that. And we've been very fortunate to have that. As I said, the years 2020 and 2021 were years like we have never seen before. And we exercised reserving because we didn't believe it would continue. And this year the economy has wreaked havoc. The COVID wreaked havoc on our fundraising. We canceled every fundraiser because we couldn't afford to get people together. The risk was too high. And so this is where we're at. Now we're in a period of economic repair almost, where we see rising costs, and people are holding on to money more. They have told us that they just can't afford to give right now, and we understand and appreciate that. Our expenses continue on. So can I answer any questions about the financials that we have?
Anyone have any questions? I don't.
Anything?
No.
I think the balance sheet and everything you provided here is very adequate, very informative.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
He said that the balance sheet that you provided is very adequate and detailed.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to leave you on here. So, on the first page, what we were going to ask for with the opioid settlement request would be for ongoing operational cost of $50,000. And like she was saying, we have 3 old houses, and we are very grateful for them, and we keep them up. I don't know if any of you have ever drove past the House of Ruth, but we maintain them. That's part of the life skills that the ladies have. We paint, we do our mowing, we plant flowers, we garden, whatever we need to do to upkeep them. And but we have spent $40,000 more than what we have brought in thus far. So we have depleted our building fund because we were going to build a building, but we were looking at, we want to maintain what we have before we add something else. So we're using our building fund, that is our reserve. And it, like she said, it will be gone by the end of the year. And a lot of the income that we do not have at this time is because of the fundraisers have been canceled and loaded donations due to the economy. So at $35,000 that we are asking for is roofs. We spent $15,000 this year on a half of a roof because we couldn't afford the entire roof. And some of the roofs are getting older. So we need some roofs replaced, and then I need additional staffing. I can house up to 22 women, but at this time I cannot take that many because I don't have staffing that can help me because it's a busy place. It's a very busy place. You have 10 and 12 women in one house that you're doing nothing but helping them with their life's resource, classes, meetings, doctor appointments, attorney appointments, court appointments, probation appointments, and you times that daily by 10 to 12 people, it gets very busy. We have 2 drivers that helps us out, that does nothing but transportation the entire day, does nothing but. So we do need additional staffing. And then we have an addiction counselor. He's actually a family counselor also. And we have a grant every year that has been paying his wages. Well, the grant ended in October, actually this past week. And for him to complete the year, it would be $15,000 for us to be able to finish his pay for the end of the year. So with that being said, that's $135,000. And adding to that would be a vehicle. We have a 2007 Honda Odyssey. It's a 7-passenger van with a blown head gasket. But we drive it everywhere. We try to keep it in town. But to replace that, and I'm just showing you the cost, but if we just upgraded to a 2012 van today with only 88,000 miles, the cost of that would be $20,590. So in total, what I would be asking for is $155,590. That would be my request. And I think by the spreadsheet, and I hope I've explained this enough for you. Do you have any questions on what our needs would be? And when I looked over I have a copy of what the settlement is used for, all of this, because we are a 501(c)(3). We do have recovery coaches. We do opioid treatment. We are housing for that. So everything that I have asked for is definitely transportation. Everything was in the guidelines of what the settlement was to be used for.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Sharon?
Thank
Sharon, do you know where we stand on the opioid settlement as of today?
No, I know there's not a date, and I know that, to my knowledge, there's not a date, but I know it's supposed to be coming, but no one knows when.
Okay, well, we don't know exactly when we'll receive any of this.
Right?
And the commissioners, so far, we haven't had time to sit down and really have a rational discussion and go over this to even consider where we might appropriate any of these funds.
Right.
And you probably well know that it's spread out over an 18-year period.
Yes.
And
Well, after this one, I said it was 16 years after that.
yeah, okay.
Uh-huh.
So there's just a lot of things that haven't happened yet.
Right.
But you being, say, first in line for a request, that's not a bad position to be in.
Thank you.
We will retain all this information that you've given us,
Okay.
and when it comes time for us to start making decisions on where to appropriate this money, I'm sure you'll be given the same consideration that anyone else would be.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
And there's not everyone will qualify, you know.
Right.
As I understand the rules, you are a qualifying entity.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, when I read it, I made sure that everything that I was asking for is in the settlement. So, but I appreciate you giving me the time and hearing me today. I had talked to a couple of people and they said, just go ahead and present, so that's why I'm here.
Well, thanks for sharing all this information, not only with us, but for our listening audience too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who heard things today that they didn't know about the House of Ruth.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any patron concerns today? Okay. All that leaves us today is claims and payroll.
Move to approve claims and payroll.
I'll second that.
And we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve claims and payroll. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane.
Jeff said he's good with this, so you guys can go ahead and sign it.
Okay. I think this is the signature page for that right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Jeff says he's reviewed the USI contract, and we can go ahead and sign it.
Now we have to mark the calendar 9 months from today, and you should have our DNR report.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Thank you all very much.